Hello and welcome to Director's Choice. In today's episode, we'll be exploring the fascinating world of Morbius, the living vampire, a character with a unique backstory and a set of abilities that has captured the imagination of readers and viewers for decades. We'll be discussing his psychology, his relationships, his greatest and worst moments, and what makes him a compelling superhero villain. Morbius' creation was a product of the horror comics boom of the 1970s. The character was introduced in the pages of The Amazing Spider-Man, and his unique blend of science fiction and horror elements quickly captured the attention of readers. At the time, comics were facing increased scrutiny from the public and from government authorities, who were concerned about the impact of violent and disturbing content on young readers. Morbius was a character who pushed the boundaries of what was acceptable in comics, with his portrayal of a scientist who inadvertently transforms himself into a monster.
I tried to protect you!
Protect me from what?
Becoming a monster like me.
I don't think you're a monster.
The character's backstory also tapped into a common fear among readers, the fear of illness and death. Morbius' rare blood disease was a reminder of the fragility of the human body and the limits of science. His desperate search for a cure was a reflection of the human desire to overcome adversity and to find hope in the face of despair. The fact that his search for a cure ultimately led to his transformation into a monster only added to the tragedy of his story.
Yeah, you're coming with us.
Morbius' creation also reflected the changing trends in comics during the 1970s. The comics industry was moving away from the simplistic superhero stories of the 1960s and embracing more complex and mature themes. Morbius was a character who embodied this shift with his complicated motivations and his struggle with his vampiric nature. He was a character who defied easy categorization and who challenged readers to think about the nature of heroism and villainy.
Who the hell are you, man?
Me? I You can go now.
In the years since his creation, Morbius has become a beloved and iconic character in the Marvel Universe. He has appeared in countless comic book series, TV shows, and movies, and his tragic backstory and unique set of powers and weaknesses have made him a favorite among fans. His story has also served as a cautionary tale about the dangers of science and the importance of understanding the consequences of our actions. Morbius' legacy is a testament to the enduring appeal of horror and science fiction in comics, and to the power of complex and compelling characters to capture the imagination of readers and viewers alike. Morbius' struggle with his dual nature is a central theme in his character development. His scientific background and rational mind are at odds with his vampiric impulses, which can make him a difficult character to understand and relate to. He is driven by a desire to cure himself of his vampirism and to use his powers for good, but his bloodlust often gets in the way of these goals. This struggle between his desire to do good and his darker impulses is what makes him such a fascinating and complex character. Furthermore, Morbius' tragic backstory adds another layer of complexity to his character. His obsession with finding a cure for his blood disease was born out of a desire to save his own life, but his experiments had unintended consequences that ultimately led to his transformation into a living vampire. This tragedy has left Morbius feeling isolated and alone, as he struggles to come to terms with his new identity and the limitations it places on his ability to live a normal life. It also adds an element of sympathy to his character, as readers can understand the desperation that drove him to take such extreme measures. Morbius' struggle with his vampiric nature is not just a psychological one, but a physical one as well. His bloodlust is a constant temptation that he must fight against, and his powers make him a formidable opponent when he gives into this temptation. This struggle is often depicted in graphic detail, as Morbius grapples with the morality of his actions and the consequences of his thirst for blood. This adds an element of horror to his character, as readers are forced to confront the darker aspects of his nature and the consequences of his actions. Despite his struggles, Morbius remains a character who is driven by a desire to do good. He sees his powers as a gift that he can use to protect innocent people and to fight against supernatural threats. He has a strong sense of responsibility to use his powers for good, even if it means putting himself in danger. This makes him a compelling anti-hero villain, as readers are never quite sure where his allegiances lie. His struggle to balance his desire to do good with his darker impulses is what makes him such an interesting and complex character, and has helped to cement his place as one of the most iconic characters in the Marvel Universe.
Don't shoot! Michael! Stop!
As a living vampire, Morbius has several abilities that make him a formidable opponent. He has superhuman strength, speed, agility, and endurance, and he can fly using his bat-like wings. He also has a healing factor that allows him to recover quickly from injuries. His most distinctive ability is his hypnosis, which he uses to control his victims and feed on their blood. However, he is vulnerable to sunlight, fire, and religious symbols, and his bloodlust can be a liability if he loses control. One of the most interesting aspects of Morbius' powers is his hypnosis. While other vampires in popular culture are also known for their hypnotic abilities, Morbius' hypnosis is unique because it is tied to his scientific background. He uses his knowledge of the human brain to create a form of hypnosis that allows him to control his victims. This is just one example of how Morbius' powers and abilities are tied to his scientific expertise, which makes him a unique and compelling character. Morbius is primarily motivated by a desire to cure himself of his vampirism and to be a hero. He is driven by a sense of responsibility to protect innocent people from supernatural threats, and he often puts himself in danger to achieve this goal. He also seeks to understand the nature of his condition and to find a way to control his bloodlust. His desire to be cured of his condition and to live a normal life is a recurring theme in his storylines. One of the most interesting aspects of Morbius' motivations is his desire to cure himself of his vampirism. This sets him apart from other vampires in popular culture, who often embrace their vampiric nature and enjoy the benefits that come with it. Morbius, on the other hand, sees his vampirism as a curse and wants nothing more than to be rid of it. This desire drives him to take risks and to pursue unconventional solutions to his problem. It also adds an extra layer of complexity to his character, as he is not simply motivated by a desire for power or revenge, but by a deeply personal struggle. Morbius has undergone several changes and developments throughout his comic book history. At first, he was portrayed as a straightforward villain, using his powers for personal gain and causing chaos wherever he went. However, as his character evolved, he became more complex and sympathetic. He began to struggle with his vampirism and to try to use his powers for good. He has also been a member of various superhero teams, such as the Midnight Suns and the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Step back. She's been there all night. Looks like all the blood was drained from her body.
One of the most significant developments in Morbius' character was his transformation into a more heroic character in recent years. While he still struggles with his bloodlust and his desire to be cured of his vampirism, he has become more of a protector of innocent people and a fighter against supernatural threats. This development has made him a more relatable and sympathetic character, as readers can see him striving to overcome his personal struggles and to do the right thing. Morbius has had various relationships throughout his comic book history. One of his most significant romantic relationships was with Martine Bancroft. a woman he met while trying to find a cure for his vampirism. They had a complex relationship, as she was both his lover and his enemy at different times. He also had a relationship with Amanda Saint, a woman who helped him control his bloodlust. Morbius' relationship with Spider-Man is one of the most interesting and complex in his history. While they have been allies at times, they have also been enemies, as Spider-Man sees Morbius as a threat to innocent people. This dynamic has added an extra layer of tension to their interactions, as they are both heroes in their own right but have different approaches to dealing with supernatural threats. Morbius has also worked with various other superheroes and anti-heroes, including Blade, Ghost Rider, and Man-Thing.
Entire life, I feel good. Yesterday, I could barely walk. Today, I don't know what I'm capable of.
Morbius is a great anti-hero villain because he is a complex character with a unique set of powers and weaknesses. He is not simply a vampire, but a living vampire who struggles with his condition and his desire to be a hero. His tragic backstory and his attempts to cure himself make him a sympathetic character, while his bloodlust and powers make him a formidable opponent. He is a character who blurs the line between hero and villain, which makes him intriguing and complex.
I've become something different. I feel a kinship with these creatures. They would tear anyone else apart, but they welcome me.
And that concludes our exploration of Morbius, the living vampire. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into his world and learned something new about this fascinating character. As always, we welcome your feedback and suggestions for future episodes. Thank you for watching Director's Choice.